and said, let's use this as a framework for excellence. Let's really redefine, which is, redefine the standard was kind of our theme. Let's redefine what high school athletics really looks like. And let's take this opportunity to do it. So as we go through some of this and some of the materials you read, we really think that this is different than anything you'll see in other kind of traditional high school athletic programs. And I'm just going to highlight a few. We don't have copies, obviously, but I think it will be posted to the web at some point. There's a strategic document, and I'm not going to go through every piece that the board actually has. There's some other kind of supporting documentation that I'll reference, but there's a lot of detail within that strategic plan. I'm not sure what's going on with this. I apologize, but so the other thing is that co-curricular has an impact on the entire district, not just on those that participate in the sports. And we really, I supplied the board with some research, some new research from 2013 that really shows it doesn't just impact positively like the NCAA talking about student athlete graduation rates and things like that. It really impacts the entire district. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Real quick, the process. Really, we've been working on this for 8 weeks since the original kickoff. So we didn't have a lot of time, as a lot of these things don't have a lot of time, but people put in countless hours and some great ideas, some back and forth, some good debate, good discussion, and a lot of research went into what this is. And really, we took what the board had already laid out as the vision, the guiding principles, the key pillars, the core values, and we integrated that within the athletic department. That's really how we got the recommendations that you'll hear about tonight, which ultimately gives to the athletic department. So here's the mission. And I want you to pay particular close attention to the first part of this. The mission is not to win championships. I think a symptom of accomplishing this mission will allow us to win championships. The real mission is to support, promote, and reflect the district's vision of being the first choice for an exceptional cradle-to-career education. And how we do that is by educating, developing, and serving student athletes through academic, athletic, and service excellence. So that's the theme: academics, athletics, and service that you'll see throughout the presentation. But once again, for us, a key component was, what is the mission? Our mission is really to help the district, or to be a part of the district, really meeting its overall mission and vision, not to just focus on winning championships. So the traditional argument is that athletics is about sport, and in some cases, we focus too much on athletics and not enough on the academic side of it. And we really wanted to challenge that. And so when you look at co-curricular, really, athletics is an educational tool to enhance the learning environment. It's just another tool that the district has to educate and teach our young people. So what are some of the benefits of it? I think we've all heard those stories of how it can influence student enrollment, families choosing to leave for this or to come back because of this coach or for this particular program, how it encourages student achievement. We'll talk about some of the research that really proves that. But the NCAA on the college level really talks a lot about this. You watch the Final Four, you'll hear student athletes' graduation rates far exceed their non-athletic counterparts. And there's a reason for that. Not just because they get all of the extra like we're going to talk about tonight, but it's also because, just think about it in a simple term, if I am taught from a young age that if I practice hard, it pays off in the long run, the same thing can be true if I study in the classroom, it will pay off down the road. So some of these fundamental skills that we want to instill in our young people can be done, and is done every single day through the coaches and through the athletic field. But it impacts graduation rates, motivates students to stay engaged. We talked a lot about how sometimes we have those in-season students that will stay eligible just to play the sport. And after that season, they no longer put in the effort. So we talk about how we change that, but that right there is an example of how they're smart enough, intelligent enough to do it if they want to. How do we motivate them to do it? In sports, for some folks, it is that motivation. And I'll just say, as a parent of a 9-year-old, as we were changing schools because our elementary school shut down, not the only consideration, but one of the major considerations for us was the athletics. Will she get to play athletics at the elementary level and then down the line at the high school level? How much investment is it? I was a college athlete, my wife is. So my daughter, it's already anticipated, she's going to be a college athlete. We really think about athletics. I think a lot of parents do. I coach AAU track and field. We have 125 kids that come out. And the parents from young ages are really, really interested in athletics and sports. And so, obviously, motivate students to stay engaged, inspire spirit within the new district. At the end of a lot of our meetings, I would always say, I can't wait for the day I can see our football team come out in the new uniforms and our band marching in the parade, because it really can inspire that spirit within the new district. And finally, encourage parent involvement. A lot of what the literature and research talks about is the hidden effect of sports is that it brings people together. Those same parents that may not come to parent-teacher conferences for whatever reason, you will find them at basketball games. You'll find them cheering on their kid at the track meet. So how do we use that and embrace that? Gotta keep restarting. How do we use that and embrace that? So how do we use that and embrace that to really get parents further involved in other things? So here's some of the research. So impacts on student athletes. So this is the traditional stuff that we hear a lot about, right? So I just put up some kind of the highlights of some of the research that we found, but folks have already really laid it out for us. Almost 2 times less likely to drop out of school if you're a student athlete, right? Someone found that student athletes reported higher education aspirations, diligence in homework completion, and a lower absenteeism. Found that high school students that participate in sports had higher grades on standardized tests in mathematics and in language. And then I'll just jump down to the bottom one. I found this very interesting. We could keep having a power surge here. But found that positive athletic academic association was even stronger for those students who are in struggling communities. So it actually helps a lot of student athletes, but particularly for those who come from struggling communities, at-risk communities, it helps even more. And to me, I think that's a very, very important point. There you go. So here's the part that I didn't realize, and I was glad to find this, or Scott actually sent it to me, the impact that it has on the entire district. So when someone's seeing this, they say, well, the numbers and the percentages aren't that high. But I would just say this, when you think about the traditional argument of athletics takes resources from academics, and it doesn't really help in the academic world, this just came out in 2013. They researched every high school within the state of Ohio. 657 high schools actually had an athletic program, and what they looked at was the impact that athletics has not on the student athlete, but on the entire district. And in short, you'll see just some small percentages increase and decrease. And what the literature says is that as the football team did well, so too did the academic achievement. As you've seen sports decline and winning percentages decline, so did the culture of the school. So what this shows, just some highlights, is the addition of one sport. Simply having one additional sport added to your roster provides just a small bump in the actual graduation rate. If you add 10 students or 10 spots for students to participate, it raises the graduation rate by almost 0.5%. And this isn't for the athletes, once again. This is for the entire district. So I won't pound this too much, but to me, this really is the key that really talks about how powerful athletics can be. Not just for the athlete, but for the entire district. So redefining the standard. So we really, really wanted to do something different. And this part, I think I'm most excited about. So a lot of universities and colleges have this thing called the Student Athlete Development Center. So we wanted to incorporate that within high school. And I'm telling you, I don't know of any high school, we've scoured the internet at least, and haven't found any other high school or athletic department that has anything like this. Now when I first mentioned it, some folks say, well, what does that actually mean? So yeah, some people have the grand ideas of a U of M Student Athlete Development Center, multi-billion-dollar program. Not necessarily. Realistically, what it is, it's a mindset. It's a way to think about surrounding student athletes with resources. They focus on academics, personal development, and service to the community. Could it potentially be a physical space that is a room that someone donates to and has their name on? Absolutely. But is that the only thing? No. Does it have to cost the district money? No. In your package, you should have a letter from Eastern Michigan University School of Social Work. I met with the School of Social Work, Counseling Department, and the Education Department, and all three of them are extremely excited about the possibility to allow students, GAs, PhD students, to actually come in and actually really service the Student Athlete Development Center. And think about it in this way. To require all